problem statements from DRDO, few problem statements from ISRO, scientists surrounding us. Like I think those 36 hours, they used to come in, check on us. Whole we are going to club all the groups, and there is just going to be 1 minute. You would get to chat and listen to all those senior scientists, all those like director of ISRO standing there with us having food, and oh.
So, hey everyone, we have Arindam today, and he won the Smart India Hackathon in 2022, and he is very happy to be here, I hope. And thank you, Arindam, for joining us at such short time. The Smart India Hackathon process is already started, and I was getting a lot of queries. I am sure you'll be getting a lot of queries on LinkedIn, and it's better we can answer them all together here. So, yep, here we are. I have a few questions, but the process is going to be like this only. I'll ask some questions. You can add your inputs wherever you want to. So hi, Arindam, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name is Arindam. I am a mathematician turned computer vision researcher who is currently working at Aquara. I'm the co-founder there. And yeah, I won the Smart India Hackathon in 2022 for the ISRO's problem statement. And yeah, that has been it.
Thanks, Arindam. Can you please walk us through what was your experience during that hackathon in 22? So how
Yeah.
you started, how you chose the problem statement, what were the challenges you faced and all?
Yeah, I think I remember very distinctly from the 2022 memories that when we started looking for problem statements, it was I think there are around 100, I think more than 100 problem statement which comes from different departments, different ministries altogether, and we were filtering through all of them. And our initial approach to what sort of problem statement we should look at was that if we choose something very easy or which a very low hanging, that would have a lot of competition, that will have a lot of the judgment for for those solutions would be very subjective, so there won't be left a lot of objectivity to it. So our plan to find so our main like our first plan was to find something little bit more difficult so that the entry to barrier becomes a bit difficult to that problem statement, so the competition already gets lessened there. And because also we were doing computer vision research at that point, so it was easier for us to find problems which had a little bit of research. From a research point of view, those problem statements need to be studied. So we looked at few, I think from DRDO, few problem statements from DRDO, few problem statements from ISRO, and I think few other from other ministries as well. The one that came that we found super interesting was the one from ISRO. There were, I think, three, four other problem statements as well from ISRO, and we chose one. So the our problem statement was finding cyclone. Yeah, so cyclone estimation, cyclone speed estimation using satellite images. We had to do that, and also had to create a web application. And we went in, we chose this problem statement, we made our very detailed idea PDF, idea template, and we sent it to the college. I think our idea our also approach was that we would give a lot of things already in the idea. So in the idea PDF which was to be created to submit, we added like resources that we were using, like we did citations and all, so it looked super pretty, and like differentiated a lot from maybe something that you would cook up maybe using chat gpt or something nowadays. Like it was a pre chat gpt era as well, like before, I think August 2022, so the perfect time before chat gpt. So yeah, we didn't have these AI tools as well at that time. So we tried to create a idea template which would like catch the eye very early on. So we got into the local hackathon in the college, and we went through the presentations. We got selected for the presentation. We got selected from the presentation there, and then we got selected for the ISRO's final stage as well. So yeah, we went there to ISRO. We went to Ahmedabad, the ISRO's headquarters there. And yeah, in general, I think it's a very surreal experience there, looking at all those super talented people going around you, expecting something from you, because we were like, what are we going to show them that they don't already know? Because what do we all anyways bring to the table that they don't already know? But yeah, they were super encouraging. The center was, we had all ISRO scientists surrounding us. Like I think those 36 hours, they used to come and check on us whole night. They used to come and check on us, understand our problems with us, give us feedback. So it was a very collaborative effort between them and us. And yeah, and I think also it was a very quick movement at I think 2022. I think previous year they didn't do it, so we had no idea. But only in 2022, I think there were some 4 5 problem statements of ISRO. So per statement, I think there were around 10 teams in the final stage. So around I think 60 teams were there. And just before the so in the last hours of the 36 hours, just before the like the final presentations, they were like, we are going to club all the groups and there is just going to be one winner. There like previously it was like for each problem statement one winner was supposed to come out, but they were like, no, we are just going to have three, like first, second, third from all the 5 6 problem statements. I'm like, oh shit, this this drops our chances again. But I think we did our due diligence for the problem statement from way back. And I think yeah, this was the journey of us winning. And yeah, I think the one thing that this is what people would look from outside, but also studying for the problem statement, we did a lot of we created our own data set at that time, which is I think right now still so we have been trying to publish the data from multiple conferences, getting partial acceptance, partial rejections. So we have been reiterating on that data set still till date. It's 2024, and we have been trying to publish that. I think finally we have the whole data set, and we will doing that in a journal now. So yeah,
Mm.
our journey started for the solution way back. I think that was also one of the reasons maybe we could cut the competition. Yeah. But yeah, in general, I really like saw the environment there at ISRO, and wow, like those amazing talented people around us. It just gave so much motivation. I think anyone would be there would be equally as motivated as us. Yeah.
Nice. That is a very good experience. So, and you visited the headquarters of ISRO in Ahmedabad, is it?
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice,
It was
nice,
just
nice.
beside the center.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice, nice. All right. So what's the whole process like? So I've never participated in a Smart India hackathon, or so I now participate in hackathons, but I was not into much more into hackathons back into college, and I regret it. But can you please walk us through that? How, what's the whole process? Do you need to choose a problem statement? You need to create a team, and if someone is not participating this year, maybe they can use this information next year to participate.
For sure. I think in general, I would say hackathons have this process where they would have like a filter round where they will have like an idea template where you give them
Mhm.
ideas, and on the basis of that, they choose few teams, and those teams would be taken to maybe a preliminary or a final stage where they develop their solution, execute on it, and then on top of that, they'll have the winners based on the whoever has the best solution. I think Smart India Hackathon also has a very similar approach. The better thing here is I think there are hackathons in general as well, where it will be very open-ended, and it would be very open-ended, and there won't be any problem statements related to it, and you have to bring your own problem statements, or for example there would be themes to it. But I think in Smart India Hackathon they have these very interesting things where different ministries, different departments, different industries would come together and submit their problems that they're facing, and the students will just blow away their minds with such innovative solutions. Like I have seen such innovative solutions with teams coming there. It has been amazing. So I think this model has been really working for Smart India Hackathon. And yeah, so the first thing is they will ask for a idea PDF, if I'm not wrong, if it's not changed anymore. I think idea PDF, where you submit, you see the problem statement, you see, okay, what can be a probable solution. It also could be something super ambitious. It doesn't have to be super practical or stuck to reality for the idea template. So you could tell them what you can do in future. How I think if it's related to in hackathons also they would love to see how this solution can be a business. So for some solutions you would also have to give them business use cases in the idea template. So that would happen, and once you pass through that idea, you would have to create I think a MVP, a minimal viable product for them during the hackathon, which yeah, on the basis of what they would judge. So not always they would expect whatever you write in the idea template has to be translated during the day of the hackathon.
You said that you've been preparing for this before the hackathon actually started. So let's go one by one. How do you create a team? Find the team lead, the captain, and all that.
For us, it was two of us very interested friends. So I think the
Mm-hmm.
first thing would be friends around you, the easiest way to find people who you would like to work with. Because I think finding bad teammates is very easy in hackathons. People would be super enthusiastic to get started with it, but I think slowly they lose interest. Also, there's a lot of work that they would keep doing in college and outside of college, which doesn't probably match with your priority. So I think finding friends who you know, who you have probably worked with before, who you have done projects or hackathons in general before as well. I think that's a good starting point where you could find teammates. And I think in general, once you have a idea template, once you have maybe half of the team, maybe you have two people, three people, then you could start approaching people who could bring some skills that you would need maybe to execute the problem at the end. For example, right now maybe you find people who are interested in like web development or making a web app or maybe computer vision or AI or model training and all those things. But I think you would see what you would need to fill up in the team, and you could fill those places with what you would need during the hackathon, because those 36 hours would be super stressful, a lot of high intensity things, and yeah, you would need a great set of people with you to complete it and go till the end of the hackathon.
All right. So the first step is done. We are done with our team. We invited some friends. We also saw their skills and added them to the team. And so, how do you decide a team lead? So I am supposing that most of the presentation is done by the team lead, right? So
Yeah.
again, who's more extrovert, or who's able to explain things more easily?
Yeah, so during the few times of the during the 36 hours of the Smart India Hackathon, you could, so there are times where all the team can present, so it'll be like a group effort. So they would come to your
Hmm.
designated area that they have given to work you. They'll come there, the mentors will come there, they'll ask you to present. It doesn't have to be necessarily very by the team lead, but I think the one important thing by the team lead that should have is they should be responsible enough to help you reach to the hackathon stage, because that is where most of the teams would like drop, because they would think, oh, this is not very important enough. So convincing people, okay, this is a very interesting thing that we are doing and it has a lot of opportunity. You guys should pursue this till the end and not drop in between, because I think starting is super easy. Getting people excited for such a big event is easier said than done. I think that happens very quickly, but I think the idea stage and the final hackathon has quite some, I think quite few many months. So you have to keep those people together. Also try to keep working together until the end. I think that is what the role of the team leader should be. That is super important. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think, as you said, extroverted or introvert. I think I personally am an ambivert sort of ambivert guy. So I think you could have introverted people, but then they should have all these qualities to keep the team together, keep pursuing them till the end. All these skills should be there. I think you could break through your introvertness and present. Maybe it would be a little bit difficult, maybe at such a stage, but I think it's just a thing of practice. So more you
Mhm.
do, the more you break your introvertness or like public communication things in front of an audience. So I think it'll also be a good thing if you have all those skills and you think, okay, maybe it'll be difficult for me to communicate with people because I'm an introvert. So it'll be a good place to give this a practice as well, a good stage to do that. Yeah.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. I was very introverted before I started teaching and all, and I was suddenly faced with a class of 30 in an offline session, and and that is when I started uh, changing into a different personality. So what happens now is, I'm not very sure if it's happening in the colleges or not. You present to your college, then your college will nominate 20-25 teams, something like that, and then they will present to the website. So they will submit their solution, the PDF that you said, to the website, and then they are selected to round two. Is this what happened at your end as well?
Yeah, yeah. So I think there'll be local hackathons in your college. So I think some colleges do multiple local hackathons in their level, where they will
Ah,
have
okay.
multiple hackathons and then make the stage easier for them to select people. I think some have. So you would need, I think, mandatorily one local hackathon, which is like a
Hmm.
mandate by Smart India Hackathon.
Hmm.
And you would, I think, as you rightly said, I think some 10, 20 teams would go from there. From they would nominate those teams for the next stage, and then they will put their solution, put their idea template to a further stage. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how was your PDF looking like, Arindam? Did you divide the solution into a few
I
parts?
think our PDF was first there was a graphical abstract where we try to show whatever is our architecture, whatever how we are doing things in a very graphical way. And you can use I think draw.io or some open tools, open source tools for that. That'll not be difficult. And then you would have like an abstract where you in text tell what you're trying to do, a little bit of introduction of how you're trying to approach it. Maybe if you have few previous companies from a product point of view that are already doing, explain them. From a research point of view, maybe research papers or literature review on that. So I think those would be enough, yeah. And then finally, your what you're trying to do, a future use case, business use case, all those things very summarized in a text format, yeah. We also made a video for the hackathon. I think we would have that on YouTube somewhere. So I'll send that link. That's we try to make it super funny, where we try to put in memes as well in some parts of it. So yeah, it was a lot of work behind the video as well, and it was fun for sure. I'll send the video as well. So we try to make a lot of things. For example, I think we use a graphical abstract. We use some tools to make that. So it was not just text written on the PDF. We added a lot of external links which
Mm-hmm.
maybe if they saw they could look into it, but then we were like we went all and above what we could add into the things, yeah.
Also, is it do we have a word limit, or you can make your solution as long as possible?
I think there is a word limit because like in general maybe they would have like I don't remember the word limit that is there, but I think if you write it too long it'll not be interesting enough and you would probably get
Mm.
eliminated at a very lower stage. You have to keep it interesting, you have to keep it short and crisp because a lot of people would be coming in. Even once you get selected from a local level, there would be a lot of teams competing for that final stage for that one problem statement. So you have to keep that in mind and you have to keep it very easy to understand, very crisp, very interesting throughout, because they will go through a lot of applications and you can't expect them to read your like maybe a 10-page long idea template. Yeah, that'll be unfair to them as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think they'll be evaluating thousands of
Yeah, absolutely.
solutions in a very less time.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah.
think the PDF should be very attractive. It should be very short. Your solution should be not pertained in a very long paragraph or something like that. So it's easier
Yeah.
for them as well.
Through the FAQ section, they would have a
Mm.
really detailed. So the FAQ is really detailed. They will tell you. So I think most of the questions that you would have will be explained by them because this has been
Mm.
happening for a lot of years for Smart India Hackathon. So by now they know what all problems students would face. So they have a really detailed FAQ. So I think if I would have to mention some tricks that maybe put some visual links because all text would be a little bit boring for them to understand.
Mm.
And I don't know if they actually open those links because I don't think they would. But then still, from your side, you could put some links, not just to generic stuff. Don't just send them generic links to maybe website, maybe things. if you have created maybe a video or maybe a visual image or something like that, something interesting, add those things only. Don't just fill it up with like thousands of links. Then you would not attract the link that is important for them to click. So you would have to think as any other selection process where they're going through thousands of PDFs. They don't have time to go through everything that you're trying to
Hmm.
mention, but then whatever that comes to their eye is what they will click. So you have to keep that in mind, that you have to keep things very interesting, very slightly shorter and crisp, to the point information. Don't go around telling stories of things that they probably know because they are the expert here. Don't try to explain them a lot of background details, a lot of, for example, if you're using a CNN model, don't try to start explaining what a CNN is because they for sure know that. So don't try to explain those things, they unnecessarily filling your idea template. Be super crispy, be super to the point. Whatever is important, put that in the PDF. Yeah, I think that should be enough. And if you have created maybe a video on how your solution should be, an abstract, a graphical abstract, put all those things because visual things are easier to understand and will grab their eye, and also differentiate you from a lot of people who would just send maybe text PDFs which doesn't have anything else. You would already get the differentiator there, right?
All right. So let's say I'm selected from my college, right? And I've submitted my solution on the site as well. And now I am selected, right? What's the next process? Is it going to be next month? Will I have some time for to prepare for my prototype? Or do I need to wait for those 36 hours to start working on my solution?
I think with Smart India Hackathon, that's a really interesting that they give quite some time before the actual hackathon. So before the actual 36-hour sprint, you would, I think, get around, I think, if I'm not wrong, maybe around 2 months from the idea to the hackathon. So
Mm-hmm.
if the college does their nomination at local level quickly and you know that you are selected, I think that happens within a month maybe. If that happens, you would also have like a month to prepare for your prototype, to prepare things. And also inside of the Smart India Hackathon, inside those 36 hours, they would allow you to bring your preparations that you have already, because their criteria for judgment is different. They would not just see what you have maybe coded on those 36 hours. It's also about the solution. So they would probably not mind you bringing maybe a template, a boilerplate from outside, which probably would take a lot of time on those 36 hours. Yeah, so you could do your preparations way before the actual 36 hours sprint.
But you said that you should, when choosing an idea, you should not be picking up low-hanging fruits where every other team is talking about it. So how should you look at problems, or how should you choose? Because there are more than 100 problem statements.
Yeah.
How can somebody approach those problems and choose one of them?
Yeah, I think I would like divide their problems into like two categories. Like one would require maybe a little bit of research like a research attitude towards that, and one would require like a product mentality towards that. So I think if you go towards the problem statements which are super product wise, so in there, you would see that the one thing that they're interested, for example, if they're asking you to build a software, a app for maybe a department, and they have their own use case mentioned. So you would
Mhm.
have to show them how scalable this is, how much of a business use case does this generate. So you would have to see all these things, and I think nowadays, given all these AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude has come up, if you Google or if you find those problem statements and look up them on maybe a LLM, like a AI model, I think they would give super generic solutions to that. And if you have access to it, all the other thousands lakhs of people also have access to it. So don't think whatever you find from a chat gpt would be very acceptable, because if you have access, a thousand other people have access to it. So I think try to innovate from like a business point of view, idea point of view. If you already are very interested in maybe a category, a sector, and you have like a idea towards what you want to build, or like something innovative, I think you should put forward and go into those problem statements, compared to a very process where you, okay, there are 100 problem statements, there are these apps that they say, I will see whatever is the easiest to make and I'll start doing a chat GPT search, making a prototype. I think that would not lead to end of the, like, it will not lead you too far away, too far to the into the hackathon. But I think if you have ideas, innovative ideas, if you have business use cases, those are always prioritized even in the idea stage. Yeah. So if you already have those and you find a problem statement that is similar to what you already have ideas for, so from a product category, it's the best. You choose those and you give all your inside the idea presentations. And from a research point of view, research category of problems that are there, I think with us also it was the same problem. They only gave what is the problem statement, that finding the speed of cyclones using satellite images and web app, and there was nothing else. They didn't tell us what data, where is the data, how you can access the data. There was no information. So I think 30-40% of the teams that even went in that 36 hours were asking inside the event that, okay, where will you get our data? And they were like, there is no data. You have to find your own data, make your own data, train your own models. There is nothing given by us. So they were shocked at that time, those 36 hours. But it was a good thing for us because we were prepared. We were preparing the data set since way back, and we were prepared for the event. So once we already have the data set, the event, the models, everything turned out very well during the 36 hours. They were impressed by the data set that we already created before the event. And so I think from a research point of view, you should see what they're giving and don't expect, okay, we will go to, I think for some problem statements, they would give you data sets. But if they haven't, don't think that when you go there, they will hand out maybe a pen drive or a link that, okay, here's the data and go ahead, make your solution. They would not do that. So you have to do these preparations early on and don't expect a lot from them to be given at the hackathon. So do all your preparations before that.
So one question I have, that let's say I'm not interested in software, right? I don't want to create a model, I don't want to create a web app or anything else. Can I participate using in hardware problem solvers as they are also in Smart Idea Hackathon, or is it just for software respected problems?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a hardware category as well, and there we have so people. I have seen people bringing 40-50 kilos of hardware prototypes that they have built during the time between idea and hackathon, and they've been asking questions. Oh, we have this 50 kilo thing. How do we transfer it to the center? So I think those logistics parts also, whoever is working with the hardware part, they should figure out all those logistics, because you would not get a lot of help for that, because they'll, I think, give you a sleeper class train ticket which could be reimbursed. So do all these planning before that and think that you would be going to the next stage. Don't think that, okay, if I go to the next stage, I'll start planning for the next stage. Start thinking about what I should do, what plans should be there, because I've seen a lot of teams drop off because of logistical reasons. So half of the teammates didn't reach the event. Their hardware prototype was not there on time. So all these logistical things you should have to think about very carefully. Yeah.
Got it. All right. So is this I've seen people talk about that your prototype or your MVP, minimum viable product, is not actually made during those 36 hours, but you have already worked on it. Now you're presenting it one by one. So is it something everyone should do, or we should keep some work left for those 36 hours?
Yeah, I think we also were in this dilemma before the hackathon. I remember this very starkly, that we were thinking, okay, that because they're giving time, shouldn't everyone just build something completely and then just sit on those 36 hours and do nothing? But I
Mm-hmm.
think that would be a very bad thing that you would. So we understood from experience that if you do that, that will not reflect a lot very nicely when the mentors would come, because throughout those 36 hours they would when the event start, they'll tell you we will have 5-6, I think, every day, for the first day there will be like 3-4 mentor sessions. So I think every 3-4 hours the mentors would come and then ask you, how is your problem statement going, how much progress have you done. So from the mentor's point of view, they would not expect that you build something and you come and sit in the 36 hours. they would expect that you have a very progressive path. So for first session when you have with the mentors, they would expect you would be in a very preliminary stage, and slowly as the event goes, you would progress through it. So if they see someone who already has a solution in the first mentor session, I think one thing would be difficult for you is to step up for the next mentor session. You would not be
Mm.
able to give a lot in the next session. Next session, they would be like, okay, you already did this. So the chances, although you would maybe have a better solution, but then you would not be looking very good in front of the mentors compared to all the teams that are there. They would be like, okay, they have already done this way back, so they are already not in a level playing field here. So you have
Mm.
to try to show that progression for the first mentor session. When you have, you should show that okay, we are working on the problem statement, whatever insights that probably you should have come up in the first part of understanding the problem, you should tell them what you came up with. So it should look progressive. It should not be okay, first 36 hours starts, you're done with the solution, you're waiting for the final presentation for the 36 hours. That should not be it. That should not look very good, and it will not give a very playing field from a level playing field from a mentor's point of view, because everybody has access to those time that you had before the 36
Mm.
hours, but
Yeah.
then you should show a progression to make it look good. Yeah.
Last two questions, Anandam. First is that the presentation is the most important part in any hackathon, right? The final presentation of your solution of your product. And so is it, so you have already talked about this. If your presentation, if your problem statement is product related, you should look into business requirements, you should do some market research and all that. But should it be something like Shark Tank that you can make money out of this and something like this, or is it uh, solving problem and not talking about business, or is it a mix of both?
I think it would be a mix of both. So give on the basis of the problem statement will depend a lot, but I think they
Mm.
would have problem statements where they would expect you come up with a app or web app or whatever the product is it is, and you give them ideas on how the solution is solved now, how can this be made into a business, how can this be sold, how can, what are the business channels that you could come up with. So you should also give them such innovative ideas about how the business use case can be. So they would expect that from, depend on the problem statement. There'll be problem statements where maybe it is for a government agency and they would not sell it to an external party, but then they would be
Mm.
using it to tell them how your product can not just be used in this use case, but then can also be transferred and used, is also transferable to multiple other use cases that you have. So what, however you can show that this innovative solution that we have can be used in multiple other places, is the best for them. I think they will love that for sure.
My last question is it worth it? So for example, when we learn DSA, we have so many platforms to practice DSA. You can give lead code context, you can do code forces, code chef, and all that. And for when you are learning development, you're learning some new skills, maybe Android development, maybe web development, or anything else. You can practice it at your home building new products, or you can go participate in hackathons. So is it worth it? Is it worth participating in every hackathon?
Yeah, I think that is a really great question. It for sure should be looked upon. I think some students would be super into hackathons and they would go do all and every hackathon under the sun that they would find out. And I think the most important thing that I have personally, because I have started doing hackathons at a very late stage at my
Mhm.
life, and I was so motivated by that. I've also organized a hackathon in Barcelona there for high school students. It was super interesting. I
Nice.
think that also is a very different experience organizing one. It's a different ball game altogether compared to how you would participate in a hackathon. So yeah, I think coming back to your question, I think the mindset is very important. I think in general, when you do maybe comparative programming or DSA or like lead code, you or in general whenever you do courses, you apply, make projects, those are from a very bottom up approach of learning. So you learn on the fundamentals, you build on top of that, and then you finally build something, maybe a project, maybe the most difficult problem that is there in that area. So you go from a
Mm.
very bottom up approach. But I think hackathons give you a very top down approach of learning. I think all those all different types of learning experiences should be there. So I think hackathon gives a very top-down approach of learning where you see, okay, this is a problem. You maybe half understand the problem. You don't know what half of the technologies do, but you start filling those gap. You go bottom down. You start filling those fundamentals that you need. Maybe if I need to make a web app, I know this part of it, but I don't know how to make a web app. So you start filling those gap. You go down the bricks in the fundamentals, and you see, okay, I don't know how to make this. I should start learning this a little bit, and whatever is required to make the solution, I will learn and then go back to making the project. Where I think a lot of times when we are in college, we get stuck in this learning loop. We keep on
Hmm.
learning, do courses, do different courses, keeps learning, and I think we what we forget is how to apply or practically understand. I think that is also what the industry would need, how to practically execute things. I think knowledge is one thing, and then how to execute that knowledge is also a different thing. So I think hackathon gives a very good platform where you see the problem statements. You don't know everything about it, but then you start filling those gaps. You start whatever is needed just for the hackathon. You start filling those, execute, make a solution, and then the judges are there to say if you have done a good job or not. But I think also think there's a lot of craze around hackathons. There are a lot of hackathons having there are a lot of hackathons that are there every day. You would see, and you could also there's also chances of getting stuck in a hackathon cycle where you a day in day out keep on doing hackathons. I think that is okay. I think you could do that. That give you experience, but also at the same time you should have this mentality. This mental model should be there. How you're approaching the hackathon. It should not be just okay. I'm going to a hackathon just for the sake of filling up my CV or writing in my CV that okay, this is the hackathon that I did. I came this much place in this hackathon. I think those mental models should be updated at the end of the day. I think that is what is important, and that is also what a different type of learning would do. Maybe a DSA, a lead code, they build your bottom up approach of learning. Hackathons will do like a top down approach of learning. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. That's a very good advice. Thanks, Anandam. And how was food at ISRO? How was food at that hackathon?
Oh, food in general, I think it was Gujarati food and it was good. It was fun. It was very interesting. We saw like they, I think, tried to bring a lot of different types of food from Gujarat so that everyone who came from around India would have exposure to their food. So it was fun, interesting. And also, I think more than the food, we while having our lunches and dinner, because those was the only time we would get some free time outside of the hackathon in those 36 hours, we would get to chat and listen to all those senior scientists, all those like director of ISRO standing there with us having food. And oh, it was very awe-striking to listen eating food and listening to them. Yeah. So for sure, I think you would get very brilliant people around as mentoring you there in your centers as well. Yeah, for sure.
Cool then. Thanks a lot for joining, Arindam. You've answered all of those queries very honestly, and you've made very good suggestions to each one of us. I'll also try to implement those in my internal hackathon. So I don't took much part in during my time, but now I am taking part in internal hackathons at my company. I'll try to implement those. And if I'll have any doubt, I'll disturb you again.
For sure, I think thanks for inviting me in this session, and hopefully, I would some people would learn from my experience,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think people are super excited for Smart India Hackathon, as rightfully you should be, and yeah, it is a great experience. It'll be a uh, great opportunity. Find good people to team up with, and it'll be fun to go through all those time that you'll be in the hackathon. Yeah, trust me, it'll be amazing.
Cool. So thanks, Arindam. Thank you for joining. And yep. I hope we can do this again sometime. We can talk about your Barcelona experience and all that. But yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for giving us your time. Uh,
Yeah, thanks, Samrat, for everything that you're doing for the students as well. It is quite interesting, and hopefully, they took something from what I said. That'll be amazing. But yeah, thanks in general. Thanks in general, man. Yeah.